Welcome to Off the Page, the show where we talk with Colorado authors to get the story behind the story. I'm Stacy McKenzie, a librarian here at Mamie Doud Eisenhower Public Library in Broomfield. And today we have Barbara Stafford, author of Eclectic Entertaining. And she has brought some wonderful things for us to try. And we're going to talk to her about her beautiful cookbook. Barbara, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me, Stacy.
Now, I have to ask, are you a full-time chef?
No, I'm not, and I'm actually a home cook, mostly self-trained. I read a lot of cookbooks, magazines, have attended many cooking classes over the years, but my full-time job is actually dental hygiene.
Okay.
But when you think about it, they really go together because you need healthy teeth to enjoy good food, right?
I like that. Yes, definitely. And more people need to go to the dentist and not be afraid of them.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Exactly. That's where my psychology background comes in handy.
Oh, that's
so I've got the whole package.
That is a great combination. That's marvelous. So what made you decide to write a cookbook, being a home cook and a dental hygienist?
Well, I have to give my husband all of the credit or the blame. He encouraged me to write a cookbook after noticing at dinner party after dinner party, our friends kept asking for my menus, my recipes, because they clearly didn't have time to compile them themselves. So he said to me one day, "You're so good at this, you obviously have something to offer that other people want. Why don't you write a cookbook?" And my reaction was, "Really? I can do it, anybody can do it." And he goes, "Well, apparently not. So I really think you should, but only if you want to."
If you had that many people asking, I guess, do you go to a lot of dinner parties, or are you the one that throws the dinner parties?
Both.
Good, good. Barbara, it seems to me like people are throwing fewer and fewer dinner parties. Is it a dying art? Should we bring it back?
I think it isn't done as much as it used to be done. I would like to see it being done more, and that's one reason I wrote the cookbook, to help people resurrect that lost art of throwing a dinner party, not be so intimidated by it, not be so intimidated by the whole act of putting together a menu, appetizers through desserts. I've done that for them to give them time to cook and prepare and have fun and set the atmosphere and enjoy setting your table, cutting the flowers, lighting the candles. But no, it isn't done as much as it used to be, and I really think people appreciate that home touch. When you bring someone into your home, you show that hospitality, that warmth.
Maybe that's a good New Year's resolution for people to do more entertaining at home.
I think that would be wonderful.
So this book isn't just a cookbook. It really is about entertaining in general. What else besides cooking are you giving advice about?
I'm giving little tips about leftovers. I am giving the entire grocery list. And if you are a techie, you can even scan the grocery list at the end of each chapter with the QR code that I provide. So that way you don't even have to copy the list down that I've provided. You can just go right on your tablet or your smartphone and off to the store you go.
That is fabulous. What a great use of technology in your book.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Making it easy for people, because that's what people seem to really want. Isn't it easy?
It is. And at the very end of the book, I actually have some helpful tips that I've come across over the years. For example, if a recipe says you need 6 ounces of chocolate chips, well, if you don't have a scale, how much is that? Do you just take the bag and kind of squeeze out what you think might be 6 ounces, or do you know it's a certain measurement in a cup? I provide that in the back of my book as well.
That is one of my pet peeves in recipes. Like, who has a scale all the time?
Exactly.
Fabulous. Barbara, where did you learn to cook?
I can tell you where I didn't learn to cook.
Okay.
Okay, when my sister and I were quite young, my older sister decided that she and I would learn to cook.
Okay.
And being the younger sister, I went along with it. So we went to Mom, and my sister said, "Mom, we would like to learn to cook. Teach us, please." And being a smart mother, she put it back on us and just said, "If you can read, you can cook." Which was wonderful because it stripped away all the mystery of cooking. I thought, oh, if that's all it takes, we can both read. But the funny thing about that story is my mother was never an avid cook. We were brought up on frozen, boxed meals, easy things. So the conclusion I drew from that wasn't just that I could easily learn to cook because I could read. The conclusion was, obviously Mom can't read. So for years I honestly thought my mother couldn't read because cooking was just not her thing. So it was years until I divulged my secret, and the family has never lived that one down or let me live it down.
Well, I also have a non-cooking mother, so I can identify with that. Where did you learn the skills about entertaining and cutting flowers and making it a full experience?
It's evolved over time. It's something I've always appreciated when I see other people do it. So I've taken flower classes, and I mentioned the cooking classes. And when I see somebody do something that I like, I just remember it.
That's great, and it's just evolved.
It's evolved.
So people can learn on their own and kind of go with what works. A big trend right now is all of the cooking shows and competitions and that type of thing. Have you ever aspired to that? What do you think about those maybe bringing this trend back of entertaining?
The cooking shows, those are fun. I was encouraged last year to apply for a cooking show, and my husband and I flew to LA, and I didn't make the first cut, but I have to say it was a wonderful experience. And we had so much fun. And then watching the show through the season has been really, really fun for me to see what they did and what I would have been exposed to. And boy, I have to say they raised the bar. They've set it really high.
Can you tell us what show it is?
Yes, MasterChef.
MasterChef. Oh,
so
wow.
I can say that I was turned down by MasterChef.
Yes, excellent. Excellent.
And I'm okay with it.
So, eclectic entertaining. Who would you say is the perfect audience for your book?
Oh gosh, I have a vast audience. Anybody who likes food, possibly from ages 15 to 85, because the recipes are simple. You open the book up and look at the ingredients and you'll say, oh, there aren't too many ingredients, and I recognize them, but I like the way you've put them together in an interesting, elegant fashion, but they're still easy and elegant. So I think it can be any range. We've had families of 3 generations put together a dinner party, and they decide how to divide up the menu. You take the appetizer, you get the main, you get the dessert, and so on, and take pictures, and each family member gets to do a piece of a menu.
Oh, wow.
So there's so many ways to do it. If you don't feel like you want to do the entire menu, here it is. It's all ready. Each recipe and each grocery list all set to go.
Thank you for making it simple for non-cooks.
Exactly.
Sometimes you open a cookbook and do I have to hike up a Himalayan mountain to get this herb? Where do I go to do that?
Exactly.
But you've made it simple for us. Explain the eclectic part of your book. What about it is eclectic?
I love that word. Yeah. It draws from many sources. I don't want to target any one genre.
Okay.
I want to cover everybody's needs. So there is something in my book for everybody. Whether you like beef, vegetarian, pork, chicken, gluten-free, there is something for everybody, and that's why it's eclectic.
Oh, fabulous. Give me a sample menu. If I were to come to a dinner party at your house, what might I have?
Oh gosh, I seem to keep falling back on chapter 1. I love chapter 1, beef yakitori kebabs.
Oh.
They are so good, and one of the beauties of that recipe is that you can prepare and marinate the meat the night before. I'm very big on staggering the preparation, doing as much ahead of time as possible. But that is probably my go-to main dish. Another appetizer that I really love in there is my brie quesadilla recipe with peach salsa. And I find once we finish up all the brie quesadillas, if we have any peach salsa left over, we'll grill a salmon on a plank the next day and put the peach salsa on top of the salmon. And it's beautiful. So there are so many different ways to use my things. You don't just think, oh gosh, that's it. It's one meal. No, we had the best leftovers in my house.
Oh, that's fabulous. I like all of that. Let's talk about the preparation that you mentioned. How, with a whole dinner party, how do you go about the preparation? What can you do ahead of time, but what might you have to do that day? It just seems hectic.
I mean, the things you might need to do that day would probably involve, in the menu part of it, possibly the fresh chicken, fish, meat, and the produce. But everything else, like there are so many appetizers you can make in advance. Even the brie quesadillas I mentioned, you can put them together and just freeze them and cook them an hour or two before the people come. So many things, if you just look over the recipes carefully, can be prepared ahead. If you have a mixture of spices, grind them up and put them aside.
I love having things you can freeze, especially appetizers. If people drop by,
Exactly.
bam, you've got brie quesadillas.
Well, that's another thing. Even if I'm having a dinner party for 4, I'll make quesadillas for 20 and freeze the rest of them so that I have those emergency appetizers on hand.
Emergency appetizers. I like that.
That's always a good idea.
That sounds terrific. Well, I can't help but smell and notice that you have brought something for us today. Tell us about this recipe that you brought us today.
Oh, this is a favorite. Chocolate orange biscotti. When you take a bite out of that, you'll notice the nice crispy texture, the orange zest, the Grand Marnier permeating through the biscotti, and the toasted pecans. And that is really nice. And people always think that they can only get biscotti from the fancy coffee shops, and they're usually about almost 2 feet long and really hard, and you have to dip them into your coffee. Whereas these, you don't have to dip. You can if you want. They're wonderful, and they're not hard to make. And this is another one that freezes well and makes a great gift.
That's what I was going to say. I thought biscotti was really difficult to make.
It's so easy. It's just twice baked.
And everything you mentioned, the Grand Marnier and the toasted almonds, I'm going to have to try it.
I welcome you to try that.
This is going to be great. Okay, let's see.
So when baking biscotti, you make the loaves and then you bake them, take them out of the oven, let them cool for a little bit, lower the oven temperature, slice them, and then separate the little pieces so that they get toasted on the sides. So that's how you achieve that toasted texture. And then you put them back in the oven. And then originally I had taken the chocolate orange biscotti and I had dipped them in chocolate, but my daughter gave me a better idea that by dipping them, they're quite pretty, but you don't get a bit of chocolate in every bite from the icing, the chocolate chips that are melted. So I've decided to spread chocolate over each biscotti.
That's nice. So even everybody's contributed a little bit. The family contributes.
Oh, it's been a family effort. Every single person has
marvelous.
contributed. And we have many tasters contributing.
That's always good. I'm sure they're happy tasters. I'm definitely not going to break a tooth on this like I think of biscotti.
You won't need to visit my dental office.
Yes, really, sorry. Yeah, that's marvelous.
Thank you.
And it really looks beautiful on the plate. It's a simple presentation, but it looks so appetizing.
Thank
and
you.
all of the photos in your book are just really gorgeous.
Thank you.
Did you take the photos yourself?
I did not.
Okay.
I arranged the food, but my husband took all the photos.
Your husband took the photos. Mention your husband's name.
My husband, John, is not a photographer by trade. It's a hobby.
A hobby.
And he enjoys that hobby, and we just made this a family project.
Well, he is a professional photographer now because they are absolutely lovely.
Thank you.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he got calls to do some more photography work for other, especially foodies, food books.
Well, I'm not sure if he'll have time. He's busy doing my second book right now.
Let's talk about your second book. That is wonderful. You won't loan him out until afterwards, but tell me about this second book.
Well, the second book, we eat well when I produce cookbooks. We've got to do a lot of practicing and a lot of photographing. Okay, so the second book is going to be Eclectic Entertaining. We have to have that as the main title. And the subtitle will be Small Plates and Dainty Desserts. So I love small plates because when I go out to eat, I don't like to order a main course. I want to sample many things. So we quite often will order several appetizers and try them, and I just find it more interesting. So I thought, I like to entertain that way myself. Let's turn that idea into a cookbook and offer that to my friends who like to entertain.
How fun. I think that takes a dinner party to a whole another fun level. If you can entertain and have a small plate dinner party. And the desserts. Tell me about some of the desserts you're working on for the new book.
Oh gosh, let's see, some of the desserts. We've got a really fun chocolate brownie strawberry kebab with white chocolate and dark chocolate drizzled over the top. And they're just mini kebabs with 2 strawberries and 1 brownie in the middle. But when you have something that tastes that good, you only need a small bite.
Right,
Just perfect. So
And that's a great excuse to try another one, another type
Yes,
of dessert.
exactly.
Or maybe go back to some small plates and just
Yeah.
have a little of that.
Now, and this chocolate orange biscotti is in the first book, but I will probably be putting my white chocolate cranberry biscotti recipe in the second book.
Okay.
So that would be another example.
Marvelous. You actually offer YouTube videos too.
Mhm.
Is the cooking that difficult, or why did you decide to offer YouTube videos?
I just think it's a sign of the times. People like YouTube videos. They like the instructional part. They like the cooking tips that I offer. They'd like to get to know who's behind the cookbook. People seem to like that personal touch.
Yes.
But I do offer a lot of cooking tips, and I also mention cooking gadgets that are the ones that work for me in the kitchen.
Oh, I like that.
I like things that will streamline the process, keep the cooking consistent, and just make my life easier and clean up easier.
So it sounds like your emphasis is really good food, but also how to make it easier and streamline it.
Definitely, definitely.
And so you go over what is your favorite gadget to cook with?
Oh, my favorite one right now is, oh gosh, it's hard to narrow it down to one, but I have a zester. I use a lot of lemon zest. I use orange zest in this recipe. And if you've ever grated or zested anything, usually you know that the pieces fly out the back, right? I have this really neat zester that catches everything. It has a special container on the back, so I zest away. And then when I'm all finished, the little container has a squeegee at the back, and you just slide it all off, and it even has it pre-measured for you. So you can see, oh, I've got a teaspoon, a tablespoon, or whatever amount.
That's fabulous. Yeah, zesting is kind of a pain, isn't it?
It can be,
And
but
messy.
not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. That's fabulous.
So that is one of my go-to favorites. I've actually got two of those. I like them so much.
That's wonderful. A great example of what people will get from the YouTube videos that they may not, you can always add to in the YouTube videos, but they may, after they read the book. Wonderful. What can we find when we visit your website?
Oh my gosh, so many things. You can find many, many wonderful recipes, the links to my YouTube videos, events that I will be appearing at, perhaps a book signing and sampling, perhaps another cooking class that I might be teaching, many, many events like that. And I also have Buy the Book page. But if you are one of these people who wants to take a look at the book and you want to open it up and feel the pages and just do a drive-by before you buy it online, sight unseen, you can go to another tab on my website and find one of the many brick and mortar shops that I have in 3 states, and I've got it in over 20 stores.
Oh, wow, that's marvelous.
And it's also available in the 2 forms of ebook. So there's something out there for everybody.
Wonderful. That's great to hear. So for new cooks, is this a good book for new cooks?
Oh, I would definitely say it's a great book for new cooks. The way I've got the simple recipes in there, the grocery list divided up, so that by grocery list section you will know where to buy something. For example, my daughter was making one of my dishes that was of Asian descent, and it called for coconut milk. Well, not being an experienced cook, she didn't realize that the coconut milk for that recipe was not in the dairy section. So she called me from the market asking me, where do you find coconut milk? And I said, well, it's in a can and it's in the foreign section. So I provide in the grocery list that I've compiled in my cookbook tips like that, where to find certain things so that you're not confused. You don't have to Google anything. It just, don't want to waste time shopping. I want to spend my time cooking, and I want other people to do the same thing. So you get in the store, you get what you need, and you get out.
That is so thoughtful that you put where to find in the store. That is, and I have been in the store and thought, where the heck is this?
Yes.
And Googled where is this on the shelf. So that is so helpful. What a thoughtful
You're
piece
welcome.
that you did. Marvelous. When you go talk to groups, do you do a cooking demonstration ever? Or what types of groups would you be willing to talk to about your book?
Oh, I'd be willing to talk to anybody who'd listen. Quite often, I haven't done large group presentations. I've done the samplings and signings where I'm at a location for a certain length of time and people would come up to me and have a conversation. And I've also done several cooking classes where in one of my gourmet cooking store vendors, a privately owned shop down in Centennial, I've had classes where people sign up and they come and enjoy a meal, or they enjoy a taste, actually, not a meal, but I'll make several things and they get to enjoy a taste. And it's a fun night and people sit around and talk and laugh and we share ideas. And even though I give them a printout of all my recipes and all my tips, because I'm big on tips, if you haven't figured that one out already, we have a nice banter and we go back and forth about, well, if I don't like cream cheese, could I use goat cheese? Or if I don't like this, or I'm allergic to that. And honestly, everybody will walk away with probably triple the recipes that I've got on the thing just because of all the ideas that we've shared and
we can
bounced around.
We can find those events on your website?
On my website, right.
Wonderful. Very
website,
important.
Facebook.
So give us a couple more tips, a couple more cooking tips that a lot of people struggle with.
Well, okay, using a knife, a very nice sharp knife. I don't know how many of you like to sharpen knives, but it's not my favorite thing to do. So I want to keep that knife as sharp as I can, as long as I can. Once you're finished with your chopping, a very common habit for people is to just take that cutting board and the knife and slide the food on into the plate or the bowl, whatever you're using. What you really should do is flip that knife over and use the back side of it, not that carefully cut side, okay, sharpened cut side. You just want to slide it off with the back of the knife.
That makes sense.
So that's one thing.
That's fabulous. Okay, give us one more. We have time for
one more. Let me think. Okay, one of my favorite things, usually you'll find it on the end of a melon baller. You know what a melon baller utensil is? It's that jagged thing that no one knows what to do with.
Yeah.
That thing is wonderful for scooping out that icky brown part on the tomato where the stem is. Okay, it's also great for hulling strawberries. So just a little wrist action and the job is done. Nice and neat.
I love that. I could probably just talk to you for about another couple hours of just tips.
Oh,
That's
just come
wonderful.
for dinner
That's
sometime. We'll take care of it
You're
there.
on. Definitely. No problem. Can you tell me about any groups or organizations that have helped you with your writing process getting published?
Oh gosh, yes. There is one in particular that I love, and it's called CIPA, Colorado Independent Publishers Association, and that's actually where I met you, Stacy.
Yes, yes.
And I just cannot say enough good about that group. The resources are wonderful. I only wish I had known about CIPA 4 years ago, and it would have been a wonderful resource. But moving forward, they're a wonderful resource for marketing my book now and moving forward with my second book. So, and I have won 2 awards through CIPA.
Oh my goodness, tell me about those.
Every year they have what they call the Evie Awards, and last year I was lucky enough to win in the cooking category, cookbook category, and also in cover design. So I'm really proud of that, and you'll see the sticker on my book.
And your husband did the cover,
He
John.
did the cover.
So it's like an award for him too.
Oh, he was so happy.
The whole family. That is so terrific. Barbara, this book is just absolutely fabulous. We can't wait for the small plates and small desserts.
Dainty desserts.
Dainty desserts. Small plates and dainty desserts. That sounds marvelous. And thank you for the wonderful biscotti. I'll be finishing some of that right after the show.
Oh, please do. Thank you.
We have to have you back on with your next book, so keep in touch.
Oh, I think we can make that happen.
You
Thank
bet.
you very much, Stacy.
I'd like to thank my author, Barbara Stafford, for being on the show today with her book, Eclectic Entertaining. Check your local library for the book that we talked about on today's show, and join us for more next time on Off the Page.